The Galactic Research Consortium, in all its wisdom, had devised 17 protocols for probing death worlds, but tragically, none accounted for a decent sandwich maker, an oversight that the esteemed xenobiologists, atmospheric gurus, and quantum cartographers of the standard teams deemed insignificant. Yet any soul marooned on a hostile world knew the bitter truth. Morale nosedived faster than a stricken vessel when sustenance resembled recycled waste. Cora 7 was the kind of planetary crucible that drove seasoned scientists to update their testaments and dream of new careers. Its grim fame stemmed from devouring, literally, 14 research teams in 3 decades. Not metaphorically, through arduous labor or red tape, but through an ecosystem so aggressively inimical that the consortium now cataloged expedition members as statistical casualties, not personnel. The planet felt sculpted by a cosmic tormentor with a penchant for biological excess. Gravity was a cruel 1.3 standard, each step a slog through unforgiving mire. The atmosphere, breathable, yet filled with life forms, evolved into hyper-lethal predators, regarding visiting researchers as mobile protein bars. Expedition head Dr. Elliot Vance boasted credentials that brought academic institutions to tears of joy, insurers to despair. His Centauran form gifted him 4 arms, vital for juggling scanners, weapons, distress beacons, and his ever-present anxiety meds. Vance volunteered for Cora 7 mainly because his wife threatened to remodel their habitat pod in a style she termed early marital negotiation, unless he vanished for months. Security specialist Creektal, from a race where civility was a genetic flaw, possessed a chitinous hide that shrugged off small arms and mandibles that pulverized titanium like opening a snack. She took the job because guarding a trade ambassador had grown unbearably tedious after 14 assassination-free receptions. Morton Jack, the teenage xenobiologist, faced lethal ecosystems with the zealous methodology others reserved for procreation or prayer. Jack's extraordinary amphibious physiology wasn't just a trait, it was his lifeblood, enabling him to thrive in the most lethal environments. He endured these hostile worlds just long enough to meticulously catalog every conceivable way they might claim a life, a process he considered the zenith of true scientific inquiry. His decision to join the expedition stemmed from a professional impasse. His deep research into predator-prey dynamics had reached a theoretical ceiling. Jack passionately believed that no amount of study could advance one's comprehension, quite like the visceral experience of becoming the hunted oneself. Tess Brightwater, the expedition's communications office and its crucial second human anchor, stood as a beacon of meticulous competence. Her primary duties revolved around maintaining an unbroken link with the orbiting research vessel and diligently chronicling every discovery for posterity, yet her true value lay deeper. Tess possessed an innate technical mastery that coaxed complex quantum communication arrays into seamless operation, coupled with a bracingly practical pessimism that compelled her to pack a formidable 3 times the recommended emergency supplies. She had eagerly volunteered for this perilous mission, her spirit weary of the monotonous routine surveys, where the most thrilling events consisted of discovering yet another mineral deposit or atmospheric anomaly. Cora 7 promised a far more electrifying narrative. Then there was Vera Kowalski, a character whose presence on the expedition felt like a cosmic punchline. Her inclusion was the improbable outcome of bureaucratic blunders, a testament to the universe's sophisticated, perhaps cruel, sense of humor, or its utter indifference to logical personnel assignments. Consortium regulations strictly mandated a qualified nutritional specialist for every expedition, a role typically reserved for individuals boasting advanced degrees in biochemistry and extensive training in the intricacies of alien dietary requirements. Vera, remarkably, held none of these esteemed qualifications. What she did possess, however, was 23 years of tireless experience cooking for gruff mining crews, tireless construction teams, and anyone else desperate enough to pay for meals that genuinely tasted like food, not just bland, compressed nutrients. The nameless bureaucrat charged with staffing the expedition had evidently conflated nutritional specialist with nutrition provider, a colossal oversight that might have been rectified had anyone bothered to scrutinize the personnel files before launch. By the time this glaring error surfaced, the expedition had already pierced the veil of hyperspace. To turn back would have necessitated an awkward, multi-billion credit explanation to the consortium board, justifying how a pivotal research mission was derailed by what amounted to sandwich administrative confusion. Vera had embraced the assignment with a defiant spirit. Her previous employer, an asteroid mining consortium, had been swallowed by a predatory competing corporation whose notion of improving working conditions chillingly involved slashing meal budgets and replacing seasoned cooks with soulless automated food dispensers. She perceived the research expedition as a grand, untamed adventure, a belief that either revealed an astonishingly optimistic worldview or a stark unfamiliarity with the brutal mortality statistics for Cora 7 expeditions. Their base camp itself had been painstakingly established within what the orbital surveys optimistically labeled a relatively stable clearing. On Cora 7, this translates grimly to, this particular spot had merely claimed slightly fewer previous researchers than the relentlessly hostile surrounding areas. Arranged in a rough circle, the prefabricated shelters encircled a central clearing where Vera had conjured her portable kitchen, a collection of gear feeling astonishingly domestic against the lethal backdrop. Their first night on Chorus 7 had unfolded with a hushed tension, a peculiar blend of relief and unease. The planet pulsed with a constant symphony of guttural roars, haunting howls, and what Moore and Jack clinically labeled vocalizations signifying territorial claims, mating rituals, and likely dinner invitations. Fortunately, none of these alien sounds had encroached upon their encampment, a fortunate turn that either spoke of incredible luck or hinted at an even more formidable predator claiming the immediate vicinity. Vera, with her smuggled emergency flavor kit, had transformed their standard expedition rations into something resembling actual sustenance, imbuing the meal with herbs and spices that earned her the profound gratitude typically bestowed upon miracle workers or efficiency experts. As the team retreated to their shelters, blissfully unaware, they had already captured the attention of Cororos 7's supreme hunter. This apex predator, whose hunting grounds spanned half the continent, had a chilling history of consuming every off-world species unfortunate enough to land on its domain. The chilling reality that it had spent the entire evening a silent, unmoving sentinel in the forest canopy, observing their camp with the intense focus of a meticulous strategist, would have shattered their fragile peace had they known. Dawn on Coro 7 arrived not with gentle beauty, but with the jarring abruptness of a crashing transport, heralding revelations that might well prompt scientific expeditions to question their life choices. Dr. Vance, stepping out for the routine perimeter check of vital protocol, ensuring the camp's continued existence and the absence of immediate dangers, instead found something far more unsettling: immense claw marks. These were no mere nicks from curious scavengers or the territorial scrawls of moderately threatening beasts. These were deep gashes in the earth, stretching nearly a meter long, gouged with a power that suggested the creator could have effortlessly unmade their entire camp. The marks formed an immaculate circle around their shelters, a stark, precisely drawn boundary precisely 50 meters from their outer edge. The chilling accuracy of this perimeter was as unnerving as the sheer scale of the claws that had carved it. Whatever had so meticulously surveyed their camp that night. The prior night's encounter displayed a deliberate, intelligent approach, territorial instincts blended with a surprising level of self-control. marking it as a true apex predator, far beyond a simple killer. Vance's sharp intake of breath instantly galvanized the team. They burst from their shelters, weapons raised, sensors actively scanning. Crickstell's mandibles clicked rhythmically, a sound that spoke of either profound focus or the prelude to savage action. Morton Jack's instruments beeped and chirped with increasing urgency as he captured vital readings. Claw depth indicates a mass of approximately 800 kilograms, Jack declared, that peculiar xenobiologist detachment shielding him as he discussed something easily capable of using them as toothpicks. Stride length points to quadrupedal movement, a body exceeding 4 meters. The territorial markings confirm it. Undeniably an apex predator. Tess Brightwater's fingers flew across the communication panel, uploading the morning's data to the orbiting research vessel with practiced speed, a byproduct of constantly filing precarious reports. "Command acknowledges our assessment," she announced, her voice tight. "They're recommending immediate evacuation to a more secure site." A secure site. Crix's mandibles seemed to click with wry amusement. "We're on a world where the plant life actively hunts small aircraft. There is no secure site." While the science team hotly debated predator behavior and survival tactics, Vera calmly prepared breakfast, her steady focus suggesting either extraordinary courage or total obliviousness to the danger. She hummed softly, pausing to examine the claw marks with the same detached interest others might reserve for weather forecasts. "He's a big one, isn't he?" she remarked, stirring something that, improbably, smelled delicious despite being largely comprised of emergency rations. "Kept his distance, though. That's just good manners." The day became a frantic scramble to strengthen their defenses, setting up yet more sensors around the camp and establishing a constant, terrified vigil. Maldenjak meticulously analyzed the claw marks, soil disruptions, and what he excitedly called trace biological evidence, otherwise known as alarmingly large predator droppings. The mysterious entity had clearly spent hours observing their camp, circling their position precisely 50 meters away. Jack identified regularly spaced observation points, spots where compressed soil showed where it had spent extended periods. Motionless observation. "It was studying us," Vance declared, his scientific objectivity a thin veil for palpable unease. This level of behavioral complexity implies a threat far beyond a mere predator. Dusk descended with the grim certainty of looming expenses, fueling a shared hope and dread for our nocturnal watcher's return. Vera's culinary artistry transformed standard rations into an actual meal, her flame-kissed preparations filling the air with aromas far removed from bland protein paste. The beast emerged during Vera's meal preparation, a silent, fluid apparition from the forest's embrace, its immense form gliding with uncanny grace, every muscle and claw in perfect command. Morton Jack's estimations were accurate, yet woefully insufficient against a creature shaped by evolution solely for lethal efficiency. The predator, over 4 meters long, possessed shoulders capable of bearing heavy machinery and legs like biological pile drivers. Its camouflage hide blended seamlessly, while its teeth spoke of an ancestry that knew no bite too tough. The truly bizarre aspect was its behavior. Instead of aggression, it simply sat, maintaining the previous night's 50-meter distance. It settled gracefully, a monumental weight of bone and sinew, and waited. The team remained frozen, a tableau of startled reactions, from reaching for weapons to scrambling for safety, a scene made grimly absurd by the presence of a creature capable of devouring them all. Yet it ignored them, its gaze fixed solely on Vera, captivated by her culinary dance. The colossal head followed her every move as she seasoned, stirred, and adjusted the flames. Its dinner plate-sized eyes, burning with an intelligence that challenged all notions of animal cognition, never wavered. From the portable kitchen, Vera stated, "It's watching me cook," her voice reflecting a familiar calm, unfazed by the extraordinary. It seems genuinely interested. The creature, utterly still, absorbed the cooking process with an intense gaze, hinting at either profound curiosity or the unhurried patience of a being unaccustomed to meals prepared by their own hands. As Vera declared dinner ready, the predator's ears twitched forward, a strangely captivating blend of menace and charm. After the team cautiously finished their meal, eyes locked on their colossal observer, Vera, without seeking consent or heeding protests, approached the camp's edge. She set a portion of food on a separate plate, a gesture bridging the gap between their shelters and the creature's resting spot. With a cautious yet eager approach, the predator examined the offering, its thorough sniff suggesting an almost analytical discernment. It devoured the entire plate in 3 swift, deliberate bites, a movement that felt both efficient and subtly grateful. Then, returning to its spot, it waited until the team retreated to their shelters before vanishing into the forest, as silently as it had appeared. The third dawn ushered in a structured approach to the inexplicable. Dr. Vance implemented formal observation, a charade of understanding meticulously chronicled for future inquiry. The perfect circle of claw marks persisted, joined by new overnight revelations. The creature had evidently occupied a vantage point, designated Position Alpha by Mord Yaka, a gentle incline offering clear camp visibility while respecting the 50-meter boundary. Soil analysis confirmed prolonged presence, indicating hours spent in patient observation. "It's settling into a pattern," Jack declared, his professional excitement raising eyebrows regarding his survivalist outlook. "This behavior suggests sophisticated thought and planning. We're witnessing something far beyond simple predation." Extol had already dubbed it the Night Stalker, a name both dramatic and unnervingly fitting. Her security protocols now included specific directives for managing unexpected dinner guests, a testament to the escalating professional adaptation. Astonishing encounters with the creature unfolded, each mealtime a surreal performance. The apex predator, a creature of unnerving grace, observed the cooking process, its focused attention suggesting advanced intelligence. Vera's additional portions, offered with polite consideration, seemed to be appreciated. The creature's impeccable manners appearing on cue, awaiting invitation, and meticulously cleaning its plate, created an unsettlingly civilized scene. By the 4th day, the terrifying predator had become a strange sort of dinner theater, its claws a silent reminder of its formidable power. The team grappled with theory's territoriality, social learning, yet Vera's simple idea that the creature simply enjoyed the meal was deemed too simplistic. On the 5th day, a territorial dispute erupted. Smaller, formidable predators, eager to devour the research team, approached. The Night Stalker, emerging from its hiding place, displayed raw intimidation. Seismic readings and equipment malfunctions recorded the beast's roar as the competing predators fled, their swift retreat echoing the speed of small spacecraft achieving escape velocity. The Night Stalker's protective behavior confirmed its ownership of this hunting ground. Vera, amidst the evening meal preparation, suggested that it was safeguarding its dinner invitation. The 6th day's perimeter check unveiled a sophisticated display of territorial communication, the Night Stalker's claim to ownership and the marks of its fellow predators clearly laid out as markers of shared hunting grounds. Morton Jack grew exhilarated by the unprecedented behavioral documentation unfolding. His daily reports to the orbiting research vessel transformed into verbose accounts from a sleep-deprived mind. "We're witnessing the birth of a symbiotic bond between apex predators and an extraterrestrial entity," he declared at the evening briefing, challenging fundamental beliefs about predator intellect and social learning. The nightly routine now included what seemed like a formal security inspection. The Night Stalker, arriving earlier, meticulously patrolled the camp's perimeter, only assuming its observational stance after ensuring no rival threats lurked. This suggested protective instincts and systematic security protocols indicative of advanced intelligence, conducting reconnaissance, sweeping for potential dangers, and establishing situational awareness before settling in for the evening's spectacle. The spectacle itself morphed into a bizarre dinner theater. The creature exhibited clear anticipation during meal preparation, its body language betraying genuine interest in Vera's culinary artistry, transforming rations into passable cuisine. "I swear it's taking notes," Vera remarked, demonstrating her emergency herb crust, watching every move like it plans to open its own bistro. The seventh evening delivered the most profound development. During meal preparation, when Vera depleted a specific spice blend, the Night Stalker approached the forest's edge, returning with local flora deposited near the camp before resuming its vigil. Chemical analysis revealed compounds remarkably similar to the missing blend, with flavor profiles enhancing their food. Either the creature grasps advanced culinary chemistry, or the universe has a wickedly sophisticated sense of humor, Jack noted in his report. The creature is now actively participating in food preparation, a level of interspecies cooperation previously undocumented between humans and apex predators. Vera integrated the local plants into that night's meal, crafting. Vera had proudly served what she called their first truly local meal since landing, a simple act of domesticity in an alien world. The Night Stalker, their imposing guardian, had devoured its share with undeniable pleasure, then settled into a deep contentment, its massive frame rumbling with a sound uncannily like a giant purr for the better part of an hour. Within a week on Chorus 7, an unspoken, bizarre routine had blossomed, utterly disregarding every Galactic Research Consortium protocol. Their camp, improbably, had become the heart of a vast territory overseen by the planet's apex predator, a creature that had seemingly chosen protection over predation, seeing the expedition as a valuable asset rather than a meal. The scientific team, awestruck, had already begun documenting revolutionary insights into predator intelligence and unheard-of interspecies communication. And through it all, Vera remained unfazed, simply continuing to prepare their meals, embracing their colossal guardian not as a terrifying threat, but as a remarkable, if enormous, part of their peculiar family. Yet beneath this improbable harmony, a storm was brewing. None among them could have foreseen that their fragile, hard-won normalcy was on the precipice of a profound disruption, a true test of their protective bond. Soon they would discover if the Night Stalker's fierce territorial loyalty could truly transcend eons of primal predatory evolution when faced with a danger far greater than any they had yet imagined. Then, the tranquility of Kuru 7's morning shattered. An emergency beacon shrieked through the air, its urgent electronic panic a sound usually reserved for catastrophic equipment failures, total navigational collapses, or the chilling realization that vital supplies like oxygen or coffee had been forgotten. This time, the signal grimly declared that their awaited supply drop had suffered what the orbiting research vessel, with alarming understatement, termed delivery complications. Test Brightwater's grim analysis of the incoming data confirmed the worst. The supply shuttle's navigation system had critically failed during atmospheric entry, forcing an emergency landing some 40 kilometers from their safe haven. Though the shuttle itself was remarkably intact and its precious cargo salvageable, the crew, who was now stranded, reliant on a hastily set emergency beacon at that secondary, perilous site, desperately awaiting a rescue. "The backup landing coordinates," Brightwater announced, his voice tight as a topographical map illuminated, starkly revealing why their current location was chosen over any alternative. The path to the emergency site was a nightmarish traverse through terrain their advanced reconnaissance had deemed catastrophically dangerous, even by Core 7's notoriously harsh standards. Dr. Van's eyes traced the perilous route with an intensity usually reserved for life-or-death legal clauses or volatile equipment schematics. The winding trail cut through 3 distinctly hostile ecological zones, each meticulously documented as home to formidable predator species that saw any passing traveler as little more than a convenient, moving meal. "We cannot abandon." "So," Vance declared, a reluctant resolve edging his voice, a trait of those facing grim necessities. "The shuttle crew isn't prepared for a long trek through hostile lands." Quicksell meticulously checked weapons and gear, her precise movements hinting she expected heavy use before they saw camp again. "Our path cuts through territory claimed by at least 5 major predators," she warned. "The entire journey is a crossing of hunting grounds." Morton Jack added more worry, revealing migration patterns pushing predator packs onto their route. "We're attempting this during the height of the local carnivore hunting season," he stated, his detached tone making their peril sound like a lecture. Their preparations had drawn their regular evening visitor earlier than usual. The Night Stalker emerged from the forest as they loaded supplies, positioning itself at the camp's edge, radiating heightened alertness and unmistakable unease. "It senses something's amiss," Vera observed, packing cooking gear that might not survive. "Seems distressed by all this packing." The creature's unease grew as departure neared. It paced the boundary, torn between protectiveness and territorial limits. Finally, as the team shouldered their packs, the Night Stalker stood squarely in their path. For minutes, a strange standoff unfolded. It blocked their way without aggression, the team waiting to see if their guardian would stop them or simply disapprove. Vera resolved the impasse, approaching with a serene confidence that suggested lifelong dealings with apex predators. She spoke casually, as if discussing the weather. "We'll be back," she told the Night Stalker, as if speaking to a concerned neighbor. "Just picking up some lost friends. Nothing to fear." Whether it understood the words, the tone, or simply sensed their return, the creature stepped aside, letting them pass. Yet as the team ventured into the forest beyond, a sense of team. Expedition members slowly realized their enormous, enigmatic guardian was deliberately shadowing them, maintaining a precise, unsettling distance. The first day of their arduous journey unfolded beneath a shroud of nerve-wracking tension, a constant, primal fear that painted every rustle of leaves as approaching doom, every deep shadow as the lair of nightmare creatures. The expedition pressed on, maintaining vigilant defensive formations as they slowly advanced towards the emergency landing site, periodically catching glimpses of fleeting motion within the dense forest canopy, a chilling confirmation of their constant observation. Their colossal follower maintained its consistent, watchful separation throughout the day, never drawing near enough to be distinctly seen, yet never permitting the expedition to advance without the unnerving reassurance of its pervasive, distant presence. Dr. Vance had attempted to intellectualize this unnerving behavior, coining terms like extended territorial escort or mobile protective shadowing. But the stark, undeniable truth remained. The planet's apex predator had inexplicably chosen to accompany them on their desperate rescue mission. The first brutal attack erupted during their evening meal preparation, as their relentless trek had led them deep into territory fiercely claimed by a pack of creatures Morton Jack had chillingly classified as aggressively competitive carnivores with severe territoriality issues. This formidable pack comprised 6 colossal beasts, each roughly the imposing size of a ground transport vehicle, their forms bristling with natural weaponry honed by eons of brutal evolution, a living testament to a planetary arms race that dwarfed the technological advancements of most civilizations. The attacking predators executed a perfectly coordinated ambush, surging from multiple directions with chilling intelligence, their seasoned tactics clearly designed to splinter the expedition, isolating individual members into vulnerable targets for overwhelming, concentrated assault. The Night Stalker's intervention was a visceral, horrifying spectacle of unparalleled speed and devastating force. It erupted from its forest concealment, shedding all pretense of stealth, a whirlwind of primal power. Its assault on the nearest pack predator was a blur, over before most of the expedition could even comprehend the savage brutality unfolding, leaving one less hostile beast and an indelible impression of hunting efficiency that utterly redefined their understanding of an apex predator's true capabilities. The remaining pack members suddenly found themselves confronting a force immeasurably larger, faster, and infinitely more anciently experienced than their intended prey. The Night Stalker's defensive stance was absolute. It positioned its immense form directly between the expedition and the remaining aggressors, unleashing earth-shattering vocalizations that registered on their seismic equipment, undoubtedly formal territorial challenges, primal threats spoken in the terrifying language of apex predators. The confrontation, a blur of raw, untamed power, lasted approximately 3 minutes, during which the expedition bore terrified witness to a display of predator combat that transcended mere violence, entering the realm of the truly sublime and terrifying. The scene of devastation mirrored natural disaster footage, far from typical wildlife documentary fare. Once the remaining assailants had finally withdrawn, the Night Stalker meticulously surveyed the ravaged landscape before resuming its vigil near the expedition's makeshift camp. "Easy now," came a voice, followed by Tess Brightwater's stunned observation. "It saved us." Her voice dripped with the awe of witnessing the impossible firsthand. "That magnificent creature battled an entire pack to keep us safe." Meanwhile, Vera, her hands trembling only slightly from the night's terror, prepared dinner. Miraculously, the meal tasted almost normal, a stark contrast to the surrounding forest, which now resembled a war zone after the ferocious predator conflict. She served a generous portion to their protector, a silent acknowledgement of its crucial role. The Night Stalker accepted the offering with what seemed like genuine gratitude, then settled into a defensive posture, encircling the expedition's temporary refuge. Its actions clearly indicated a shift in status. The expedition was no longer merely interesting guests, but had become something akin to pack members, deserving of active defense. As the group retreated into their emergency shelters for the night, a profound certainty settled upon them. Their very survival had hinged entirely on the intervention of a being they had initially feared as a potential menace. The unsettling realization that their lives were now entrusted to the protective instincts of a creature evolved for lethal predation sowed a seed of cognitive dissonance, a complex truth demanding significant contemplation. Unbeknownst to them, the day's harrowing events had forged a new paradigm, irrevocably reshaping their connection to the planet's intricate ecosystem. They were no longer potential prey, but had transitioned into something utterly unprecedented in Koros 7's biological narrative, a species under the direct guardianship of its ultimate predator. The second day of their trek towards the emergency landing zone unfolded with a palpable lack of incident. The reason became apparent as word of the previous evening's fierce territorial defense had evidently rippled through the local predator community with the swiftness of whispered secrets in a secluded village. The expedition encountered no further hostile wildlife, save for fleeting, distant glimpses of creatures that promptly retreated upon sensing their presence. Dr. Vance began to meticulously construct theories regarding the sophisticated communication networks that enabled apex predators to relay territorial information across such immense distances, while Crix observed with keen interest the unnervingly smooth passage through supposedly treacherous territories. Morton Jack, with his characteristic meticulousness, documented every detail, his dedication suggesting an intent to publish multiple academic treatises based on their extraordinary experiences. Their vigilant escort continued its silent, watchful pursuit. The colossal shape moved at a safe distance all day, offering fleeting glimpses as the terrain forced the travelers into the open. Its presence redefined their mission from a desperate flight into a surreal tour of Chorus 7, guided by a beast whose claws could shred power armor. The emergency landing site exceeded even the bleakest preliminary reports. The supply shuttle lay wrecked after a controlled descent gone wrong, a kilometer-long scar of debris and ruined cargo across the alien woods. The crew huddled defensively around their beacon, desperately needing rescue. "Shuttle's a total loss," the crew chief had declared, a professional acceptance of equipment failure at the worst possible time. Navigation fried, atmospheric entry ruined everything else. Orbiting vessel extraction only. The rescue would take days, and the combined groups needed to survive in a place that made their initial camp feel like paradise. Hope arrived with 3 more of the Guardian creatures, mirroring the original Protector's behavior. "It's unbelievable. Our Guardian has called for backup," Morton Jack observed, barely hiding his wonder. This represents extraordinary cooperation between apex predators and an alien species. Dinner became a massive undertaking, forcing Vera to adapt her recipes to feed the extended expedition and the small pack of behemoth protectors. Preparing meals for creatures weighing hundreds of kilograms with gear designed for standard rations was a challenge no culinary textbook had ever covered. "Glad I packed the extra spices," Beer commented from a mess of makeshift cooking stations. "Though I'm starting to think we're going to need a bigger flame unit." The augmented pack had arranged itself into a perimeter defense, securing an entire hectare of the forest. Their coordination hinted at sophisticated communication and tactical thinking, challenging the very foundations of what they believed about predator intelligence and social structure. That evening, Dr. Vance meticulously recorded their behavior, charting interaction patterns that offered a stunning glimpse into the inner workings of these apex predators. "They're functioning as one," he declared at the expedition briefing, "with rotating shifts, patrol routes, threat assessments, a level of coordination mirroring military precision." But it was Morton Jack's discovery during the post-dinner analysis that would reshape everything. While running routine chemical tests on the day's cooking, he found traces in the smoke, compounds that sparked recognition in his xenobiological database. "Aeromone analogs," he exclaimed, his scientific thrill hinting at a breakthrough or utter chaos. "The cooking releases chemicals that mimic the pack-bonding pheromones specific to this species." This revelation forced a complete reevaluation of their observations. Actions they'd attributed to protective instinct, territoriality, or learned behavior were actually chemically driven pack-bonding responses, triggered by Vera's cooking. The flame-based cooking, combined with the specific spices, creates aerosol compounds that initiate pack acceptance, Jack continued, his excitement growing. "They aren't protecting us out of respect for our intelligence. Their brains now classify us as pack." Tess Brightwater cross-referenced the analysis with their behavioral logs, finding correlations that strengthened Jack's claim. Each significant advancement in their protectiveness coincided with evenings Vera used open flame and heavy spices, she revealed, the implications sinking in. The Galactic Research Consortium had poured decades and fortunes into sophisticated protocols for handling dangerous predators, defenses, research, training. And the key to survival on a death world? Proper seasoning and understanding the social power of a good meal. "We were overthinking this," Dr. Vance conceded, his scientific ego humbled by the realization that simple hospitality had trumped advanced theory. While we theorized about predator intelligence, Vera was accidentally triggering biological responses that integrated us into their society. Krikol considered the security implications with professional focus. Chemical warfare through Sci-Fi, she had noticed. It was astonishing to realize the most potent defense hinged on preparing meals. This insight clarified their guardians' intense focus on cooking. They weren't learning for pleasure or idle curiosity. Instead, they were observing the chemical reactions strengthening their pack's loyalty, ensuring the journey consistently generated the compounds vital for their protective instincts. They were, in essence, quality controllers. Vera had remarked, with clear amusement, that they were verifying my adherence to the standards that elicited their guardianship. It made perfect sense why they seemed dejected when my herb supply dwindled. This revelation fundamentally altered their perception of the entire expedition. What they'd initially believed to be a series of fortunate encounters with dangerous creatures was, in fact, a calculated biochemical influencing of innate behaviors, seamlessly integrating them into the planet's top predator hierarchy. More importantly, this discovery hinted that similar methods could be applied on other perilous planets, potentially transforming how hostile environments are explored. The Galactic Research Consortium's stringent protocols for surviving deadly worlds might soon be complemented, or even superseded, by techniques involving meticulous meal preparation and an understanding of local predator biology, a truly culinary path to xenobiology. Morton Jack had declared this with the profound academic delight reserved for uncovering entirely new disciplines. Who could have imagined that effective communication between species would involve the art of seasoning? As the augmented expedition prepared for their second night at the impromptu landing site, safeguarded by apex predators now viewing them as family, thanks to biochemical adjustments subtly woven into their meals, none could dispute the profound impact of their findings on scientific comprehension of predator-prey dynamics. The sheer serendipity of these breakthroughs, born from a cook's simple desire to elevate expedition rations, was a testament to the universe's penchant for ironic twists, especially when aimed at academic endeavors. The extraction proceeded with an ease reflective of missions where the local predators had elected to act as security instead of adversaries. The orbiting research shuttle descended into a landing zone meticulously cleared by their pack protectors, who had apparently dedicated the prior evening to removing obstructive flora and warding off rival predators. Captain Rodriguez, the pilot, disembarked with an outward professionalism that masked his. A jarring welcome awaited him, an expedition team hosting a dinner party for creatures capable of dismantling his shuttle with their claws. Apex predators formed a defensive circle around a makeshift camp kitchen, challenging every assumption about standard extraction procedures. Intriguing security arrangements, he'd noted from the evacuation manifest. Command hadn't mentioned recruiting local wildlife as security. Dr. Vance offered convoluted explanations involving unprecedented interspecies cooperation and chemical-biological pack integration protocols. But Vera, ever pragmatic, offered a simpler truth. They like my cooking, she'd explained, transferring equipment. Good food, it seemed, worked better than weapons for forging friendships on this world. Departure negotiations, unheard of in extraction protocols, were required. The pack protectors, sensing their adopted family's impending departure, exhibited the separation anxiety of long-term bonds, not merely temporary territorial disputes. Vera, with the last of her spice, prepared a final meal, creating individual portions for their protectors, explaining the temporary nature of their leave in the familiar conversational tone that had marked their entire stay. Whether the creatures understood her words or interpreted her intentions through body language and pheromones, the expedition was eventually permitted boarding. The Night Stalker, their apparent pack leader, presented a bounty of local plants near the ramp before departure. Chemical analysis would later reveal these plants held the key to reproducing the bonding pheromones essential to their survival. Souvenir collection, Jock noted, carefully preserving the botanical samples. This provides the means to replicate the chemical processes that enabled our integration into their social structure. From the orbiting research vessel, the expedition surveyed the territory they'd traversed. The landscape revealed the extent of their protector's domain. Hundreds of square kilometers of forest, a predator sanctuary for centuries. We were never truly endangered, Krichtol realized, reviewing shuttle footage. The entire region was under their control. They could have eliminated any threats before we knew they existed. The debrief. The arduous research sessions aboard the vessel had shattered every preconception held by the Galactic Research Consortium protocols regarding hazardous world exploration. Their survival wasn't a testament to advanced technology, superior defenses, or clever predator control. Rather, it stemmed from an unexpected revelation. Skillful cooking could transform fierce predators into devoted companions. Commander Walsh, the vessel's stoic leader, examined their findings with the ingrained disbelief common to those whose careers were built on the inexplicable. So, you're saying surviving deadly worlds hinges on preparing meals and grasping predator biology, specifically cooking in ways that foster pack loyalty through chemical releases? Dr. Vance explained the necessity of understanding local predator social dynamics and their biochemical sensitivities to particular scents. This discovery resonated far beyond their singular mission. Swiftly after their return, Consortium headquarters received initial reports that necessitated urgent policy revisions and emergency discussions with galaxy-wide xenobiological experts. Teams operating on perilous planets sought immediate guidance on implementing culinary integration, while the consortium's HR department began a search for nutritionists skilled in interspecies dietary needs. Vera, formerly the expedition's cook, was elevated to Chief Xenobiological Relations Specialist, a role that surprisingly entailed advising fellow researchers on the societal impact of meal preparation in hostile territories. Her file now bore qualifications in applied interspecies biochemistry and tactical culinary arts. Reflecting on her 23 years feeding mining crews, she realized the most crucial skill was recognizing that exceptional food builds bonds universally. This groundbreaking success led the consortium to institute the Kowalski Doctrine, a framework integrating culinary planning into standard exploration protocols. Future missions to dangerous worlds would now feature nutritional experts schooled in local predator biochemistry, provisioned with ingredients chosen to elicit positive social responses from apex predators. 6 months post-Chorus 7, dispatches arrived from other research teams employing comparable methods on diverse hazardous planets. One team studying volcanic ecosystems on Infernos 3 had achieved successful integration with heat-adapted pack predators through the preparation explorers on the icy realm of Cryona found that specific meal preparations, utilizing fermentation to unlock sulfur compounds, fostered surprisingly protective alliances with its frigid predators. Similarly, a botanical team on the lush planet Vidia 2 inadvertently unleashed fierce territorial devotion from airborne hunters by cooking with methods mimicking natural reproductive scents. This recurring pattern across diverse worlds and predatory life forms revealed a profound truth. Mastering dangerous environments hinges on understanding apex predators' intricate biochemical sensitivities. By preparing food to elicit specific chemical responses, potential dangers could be transformed into steadfast guardians, fundamentally altering exploration strategies and our comprehension of predator intellect and social bonds. This groundbreaking insight spurred galaxy-wide academic revamps, creating new fields dedicated to culinary xenobiology, and prompted military interest in food's tactical potential for biochemical influence. Dr. Vance now helms the new Culinary Xenobiology Department, guiding research into how meal preparation shapes interspecies social dynamics. Moren Jack earned tenure for his work on chemically mediated pack cohesion, while Krichtol spearheads the integration of nutritional science into defense planning. Tess Bridewater is tasked with creating universal protocols for disseminating these culinary discoveries, ensuring future explorers can leverage the collective wisdom on predator biochemistry and social cues. The Night Stalker and its kin remain under intense scrutiny, their continued protective behavior and structured social hierarchy meticulously documented. They resolutely guard the original expedition camp, a testament to their ingrained protective bond forged by that first encounter with expertly prepared sustenance. Early findings suggest the pack guides other off-worlders away from their territory, differentiating between familiar companions and unwelcome intruders. The profound, almost unbelievable nature of their discovery resonated deeply with everyone on the expedition. The Galactic Research Consortium had poured billions into survival tech for hostile planets. Ironically, a seasoned cook's wisdom held the key, yet the right questions were never posed. "We spent decades overcomplicating this," Commander Walsh mused during the final briefing. "While we engineered advanced defenses and intricate survival plans, the solution was disarmingly simple. Hungry predators, like any being, cherish good food." Vera embraced her new duties with her signature practicality. "It makes sense," she'd commented, reviewing galactic consultations. "Nourishment has united us since time immemorial. Why wouldn't it bridge the gap with predators?" The Kowalski Doctrine's triumph set a precedent, reshaping exploration policies and shifting focus from defense to integration, informed by local biology and social dynamics. The serendipitous discovery by someone whose sole credential was culinary excellence served as a cosmic jest, much to academia's chagrin. Now the galaxy's foremost authority on predator integration via cuisine, Vera pondered the fortunate turns that elevated her from a mining camp cook to an interspecies diplomat. This elevation brought substantial financial rewards, cutting-edge research access, and accolades usually reserved for seasoned scholars. 6 months after the Kororo 7 mission returned, upending predator-prey assumptions, the consortium's annual conference buzzed with topics like biochemical integration through nutritional accommodation and tactical interspecies culinary diplomacy. Previously defense-focused institutions now housed departments dedicated to the social impact of meals in perilous locales. Dr. Miranda Voss, the consortium's director of exploration protocols, inaugurated the conference, acknowledging the seismic shift termed the Kowalski Revolution. This transformation transcended mere procedural updates, fundamentally reorienting the galaxy's research approach. The daunting challenge of exploring perilous worlds was fundamentally redefined. Voss had declared, his voice ringing with triumph, that they had successfully integrated with apex predators across 17 distinct worlds. These groundbreaking techniques, born from the pioneering Cora 7 expedition, were now proven. His announcement landed heavily on an audience of seasoned researchers, many still grappling with the staggering truth. Their most advanced survival tactics, once cornerstones of exploration, had been rendered utterly obsolete by mere culinary mastery. The figures spoke volumes. Expeditions embracing these culinary integration protocols boasted a phenomenal success rate exceeding 97%. This was a stark, almost unbelievable contrast to the perilous 40% survival rate previously endured with conventional defensive measures. The conference's most anticipated keynote address was delivered by Vera Kowalski, a name now synonymous with revolutionary insight. Her incredible journey from humble expedition cook to the galaxy's foremost authority on predator social integration was a narrative so compelling it had become the subject of academic studies, a living testament to the serendipitous, often unpredictable nature of scientific advancement. Her presentation, powerfully titled "Practical Applications of Biochemical Manipulation Through Meal Preparation," drew colossal, overflow crowds. Among them were captivated representatives from prestigious research institutions, formidable military organizations, and ambitious commercial exploration companies, all eager to witness this new frontier. Vera eloquently unveiled her seminal insight to an assembly featuring the galaxy's most distinguished xenobiologists and seasoned exploration specialists. She elucidated that apex predators, fundamentally, react to specific chemical cues in the exact same profound way social species interpret communication signals. With proper meal preparation, she explained, precise compounds are released, meticulously triggering recognition responses. This ingenious biochemical manipulation doesn't just neutralize potential threats, it astonishingly transforms them into fiercely loyal, protective allies, as the predators themselves instinctively perceive it as genuine pack bonding. The accumulating success stories, flowing forth with an unwavering consistency, had undeniably propelled these once theoretical breakthroughs into universally established transformative protocols. For instance, the intrepid research team venturing into the shimmering crystal caves of Luminous 4 forged protective alliances with its formidable crystalline predators. This feat was achieved through specialized preparation techniques that shrewdly incorporated mineral compounds directly from the predator's natural prey species. Similarly, a botanical expedition on the vibrant aquatic world of Pelagic 7 remarkably integrated with its marine predators. Their method involved sophisticated fermentation techniques, cleverly replicating biochemical markers intrinsically linked to the predator's complex social hierarchy. Most significantly, commercial exploration enterprises, once deterred from hazardous worlds by unacceptably high casualty rates, had now eagerly embraced modified versions of the Kowalski Doctrine for their ambitious mineral extraction and resource development operations. This profound metamorphosis of apex predators, from dire existential threats to invaluable protective security forces, had flung open the doors to previously forbidden, inaccessible worlds for development. The resulting economic opportunities were staggering, measured not in millions, but in trillions of credits. Vera's burgeoning consulting firm, officially christened Interspecies Nutritional Integration Solutions, was deluged with contracts from organizations across the entire galaxy, all desperately seeking her unparalleled expertise in predator social biochemistry. Her rapidly expanding staff now proudly encompassed a diverse collective of brilliant xenobiologists, astute biochemists, and visionary culinary specialists, all collaborating seamlessly. She reported, voice tinged with awe, during the quarterly update, detailing the astonishing reach of culinary integration. Over 40 worlds clamored for our specialized protocols, each tailored to unique predator species and ecosystems. From icy Arctic hunters to volcanic sulfur breathers, our techniques adapted surprisingly well, once the core principles were understood. The military implications were truly transformative. Across the galaxy, defense forces now embedded nutritional experts into strategic planning, realizing that bonding with local predators offered a level of security previously unattainable. A special ops team on Bastion 9, under the armored guardianship of mineral-integrated predators, completed their reconnaissance mission flawlessly. Academically, the shift was seismic. Universities launched interdisciplinary programs, melding xenobiology, biochemistry, and culinary arts, pioneering fields at the nexus of nutrition and interspecies diplomacy. Defense technology specialists retrained in cooking, while culinary academies delved into predator biochemistry and social integration. Dr. Vance's Department of Culinary Xenobiology swelled into the consortium's largest research division, with labs, field sites, and training academies that armed specialists for missions galaxy-wide. His budget ballooned, mirroring the consortium's investment in unlocking the full potential of biochemical manipulation via meal preparation, a revolution in exploration protocols. Vance, in a meeting brimming with academics, military leaders, and explorers, declared, "Our every assumption about survival on hazardous worlds is shattered by the power of cooking to forge protective alliances with nature's deadliest creations. Morton Jack earned accolades for his work on predator social biochemistry, unveiling the precise chemical compounds and preparation methods that sparked integration across species. His lab thrived as a hub, dissecting the biochemical levers of predator social behavior, with funding fueling studies across diverse worlds and ecosystems. Vera was appointed to lead the consortium's groundbreaking security integration division, tasked with devising protocols for weaving predator protection into every expedition's blueprint. Her formidable military background was instrumental in harmonizing human endeavors with the territorial instincts of apex predators, crafting operational strategies that amplified safety while respecting the delicate fabric of predator social dynamics. Simultaneously, Tess Brightwater had pioneered the consortium's vital culinary integration communication network, a revolutionary system that allowed research teams to instantaneously exchange groundbreaking findings on predator biochemistry and successful integration methods. Her meticulously curated database had ascended to become the galaxy's preeminent archive of predator social responses, detailed chemical analyses, and refined preparation techniques that had demonstrated efficacy across an astonishing array of species and environments. The prolonged observation of Chorus 7 offered continuous illumination into the resilience of these biochemical integration bonds. The Night Stalker pack, steadfast in their vigil, maintained an enduring guardianship over the original expedition site, a clear indication of a solidified territorial claim on the very ground where they first savored expertly prepared sustenance. Subsequent voyages to this world permitted the establishment of encampments within this safeguarded domain, strictly adhering to the culinary guidelines forged during the initial mission. Vera recalled reviewing surveillance feeds, noting the pack's persistent territorial presence surrounding their former resting place. 6 months on, they still safeguard the very spot where we shared a meal. This suggests either an expectation of our return or a deep-seated, enduring territorial bond with the locale. This revelation ignited profound contemplation regarding the far-reaching consequences of biochemical integration, extending well beyond mere survival. If apex predators could forge lasting protective alliances with extraterrestrial species through chemical influence, this very technique might unlock the potential for permanent settlements on worlds previously deemed utterly inhospitable. Commercial ventures were already exploring the feasibility of establishing enduring outposts on perilous planets by sustaining predator integration protocols via continuous culinary operations. The vision of apex predator-secured colonies presented a radical paradigm for expansion, potentially unveiling hundreds of previously unreachable worlds for development. Furthermore, the triumph of the Kowalski Doctrine spurred crucial investigations into the societal ramifications of biochemical manipulation, prompting urgent ethical discourse on the propriety of employing chemical agents to shape predator behavior. Leading ethicists commenced a rigorous debate, questioning whether eliciting integration responses through the act of meal preparation constituted a form of manipulation that transgressed fundamental ethical principles. Interspecies autonomy. Others argued the method simply harnessed innate biological processes, benefiting all involved. "We're not controlling them," Vera countered during a conference panel on interspecies manipulation, addressing ethical concerns. "We're communicating in a language they naturally grasp. The protection they offer is a willing response, evoked by chemical cues they're wired to recognize. It's dialogue, not domination." This ignited a broader debate on interspecies connections and the moral obligations that arise with technologically influencing biochemical reactions. The success of culinary integration proved advanced technology wasn't always key to peaceful coexistence with hazardous species. However, it also sparked questions about the lasting impact of relationships built on chemical signaling versus true understanding. As the first anniversary of the Chorus 7 mission neared, Vera was invited to deliver the commemorative address for the 14 prior research teams lost to the planet's ecosystem before culinary integration techniques were found. The poignant irony that proper meal planning and predator biochemistry knowledge could have averted these tragedies was evident to all involved in exploration. 14 teams, she shared with an audience including grieving families of the lost. 112 souls perished because no one considered that nourishing food might be a more potent defense than weaponry on hostile worlds. The memorial established a scholarship, training family members of lost researchers in these methods, ensuring future ventures benefited from the knowledge that could have saved their loved ones. This program became a celebrated educational achievement within the consortium, cultivating specialists merging personal drive with expertise in predator social biochemistry. Concluding her lecture, Vera reflected on the serendipitous chain of events and administrative oversights that led her to the Chorus 7 expedition and the subsequent breakthrough that redefined galactic exploration. Her evolution from cook to interspecies diplomat demanded adaptations far beyond her duties and accolades. Often, she stated, fielding questions from esteemed researchers, the most vital discoveries stem from an initial error. I was only assigned to that doomed expedition because of a clerical error, someone mistaking nutritional specialist for nutrition provider. Had that bureaucrat paid closer attention, we might not still be mourning research teams lost to predators. Predators we could have transformed into allies through the simple magic of expertly prepared food. The Kowalski Doctrine's true impact stretched far past mere protocol changes or shiny new tech. It dared to question the very essence of intelligence, communication, and survival in unforgiving landscapes. Unearthing that apex predators possessed intricate biochemical reactions, unlockable through precisely chosen chemical compounds, held potential extending far beyond mere planetary exploration. Culinary harmony proved that conquering deadly environments demanded a deep connection to local ecosystems, working with existing life rather than futilely fighting them with advanced technology. The most sophisticated defenses paled compared to techniques that leveraged natural behaviors through biochemical manipulation, a wolf in sheep's clothing, or rather, a predator seduced by the aroma of true hospitality. As exploration teams across the galaxy embraced protocols rooted in a mining camp cook's fortunate accident, the universe once again whispered its preference for solutions, blending scientific understanding with grounded practicality, demonstrating that sometimes the most intricate mysteries yield to those who understand that everyone, regardless of species or evolutionary stage, treasures a lovingly prepared meal.